It was just another night, or so I thought. The house rested in silence, shadows swirling in the faint glow. And finally, I exhaled, the burden of a lengthy, heartfelt day easing from my shoulders. To my astonishment, he chose to sit beside me on the couch, and even more surprisingly, his hand reached for mine. At first, it appeared pristine, enveloping one with a sense of calmness. Nevertheless, an unmistakable shift enveloped the air as his eyes locked onto mine. What we experienced had risen above simple sorrow. The experience plunged into intricate layers, enveloped in bewilderment, and tinged with an unsettling closeness. In that moment, it became clear to me that I was unprepared for the boundary he was about to cross. Following my husband's departure, the house morphed into a shrine, each nook enveloped in stillness, every image whispering recollections that had grown too agonizing to bear. I found myself traversing life in fragmented segments, each day unfurled before me, marked by a sequence of rituals that infused my existence with significance. The rich scent of coffee at 7, the steady drone of laundry by 10, and the comforting stillness by 3. My son, Ethan, endeavored to visit often, and his presence consistently eased the weight, even if just a fraction. Grief, it seems, adheres to a timeline of its own making, unyielding in its presence, and indifferent to the need for validation before it decides to linger. On that particular evening, Ethan made his entrance alongside his dearest friend, Adam, a boy who had almost woven himself into the fabric of our family over the years. During his adolescence, he exuded a sense of calm, coupled with a respectful presence that bestowed upon him an impression of wisdom that surpassed his years. It had been a considerable while since I had last set my gaze upon him. As I pushed the door open, I found him standing beside my son, and an unforeseen pull at my heartstrings came with his arrival. He had evolved from the slender, shy boy I once recognized. He had grown into his features, boasting broad shoulders, dark stubble accentuating his jawline, and eyes that seemed to search for something unspoken. They stepped inside, laughter spilling from their lips, striving to breathe life into a dwelling that had long forgotten how to welcome such warmth. I took on the mantle of the gracious hostess, pouring wine and arranging snacks with a sense of purpose, as if each detail held significance. A soothing warmth enveloped the heart, a gentle reminder of the joy found in being needed again, even through the most unassuming of actions. When an unexpected call from work came through, Ethan quickly asked if I could give Adam a ride home afterward. I consented without a flicker of hesitation. After Ethan left, we remained in the living room, surrounded by the warm embrace of soft lighting and the calming melodies of gentle jazz drifting from the speakers. Adam reached out his hand to lend a hand with the cleanup, but I politely declined his offer. I had grown used to handling everything on my own. Still, he lingered at the kitchen doorway, his gaze piercing through me with an intensity that was unsettlingly foreign. I tried to brush aside the feeling that made my skin prickle with awareness. "You seem fatigued," he observed, his voice gentle but firm. "Have you discovered solace in the embrace of sleep?" I bestowed upon him the same smile that had recently become my hallmark. The person who pretended that everything was fine. "The gentle tide of slumber rises and falls," I replied. "Grief reveals itself in forms that challenge our understanding." He tilted his head slightly, moving forward with a serene confidence that set him apart from those around him. you come to understand that this journey does not require you to walk alone. His voice resonated with a sincerity that wrapped around me like a soft breeze, touching the concealed depths of my heart. In reality, I discovered myself shrouded in a solitude that I had never summoned the courage to articulate, not solely for companionship, but for a deeper connection, for someone to look upon me and truly see the woman concealed beneath the mourning veil. I acknowledged, my voice barely above a whisper. At times, it appears more straightforward to surrender to a state of numbness. He chose to remain silent, providing no spoken response. He took his place beside me, our arms brushing against one another in a brief yet poignant moment of intimacy. His silence wrapped around us, forging a connection more profound than any words could convey. I became acutely aware of the passage of time, since another soul had graced this space alongside me. A sharp awareness of my age enveloped me, the lines etched by time evident upon my skin, the weight of unspoken sorrow evident in my posture. In that ephemeral instant, a wave of beauty washed over me, as though I were genuinely acknowledged. My husband and I found ourselves lost in nostalgia, recalling the vibrant memories of our teenage years, when the house overflowed with noise and delightful chaos. A tale Adam recounted about a high school prank brought forth a wave of laughter from me, surprising even myself with the unexpected sound of joy. It seemed as though ages had passed since the melody of my own laughter had filled the air around me. As the night deepened into stillness, the air around us became heavy with unvoiced thoughts. He looked at me as though I were devoid of any maternal essence. I had transformed, no longer the woman who once crafted his school lunches. A transformation flickered in his gaze, an unspoken communication echoing profoundly within my soul. The clock drew my attention. The hour had grown late. I should have stood up and grasped my keys. Space ought to have been my creation. Instead, I opted to stay. I never mentioned it before, he said, after a lengthy silence, but I have always held a deep admiration for your strength. Formidable, I asked, a laugh almost slipping from my lips once again. I find myself in stark contrast to that sentiment. At this time, the answer is no. For all eternity. Even in my early days, I sensed it. You held your family together, even as turmoil loomed, ready to tear it all apart. His words reverberated within me, echoing with a depth I had not foreseen. Maybe it was the wine. Maybe it was the hour. It may have been that I had not experienced such warmth aimed at me in a long while. I looked at him then, really looked. In that ephemeral moment, the years that lay between us dissolved from my thoughts. I find myself adrift in the labyrinth of history, the intricate web of rules, and the elusive titles that once held meaning. I met a man who displayed true empathy, who saw me not just as Ethan's mother, but as a woman whose heart still beats under the burden of my sorrow. In that fleeting instant, he reached out, capturing my hand within his grasp. It was devoid of any assertiveness. It was devoid of any hint of boldness. Nevertheless, it was intentional. His fingers danced over mine, with a measured slowness, a tender touch, as though he sensed my desire to pull away. Nevertheless, I held back. I found myself unable to do so. In that unique moment, warmth wrapped around me. I felt an intense sense of familiarity. A wave of energy flowed within me. In that instant, a deluge of inquiries flooded my mind. What could this possibly signify? What was its importance? Shall I allow it to assume any shape it desires? Is this a form of comfort or does it represent something entirely distinct? A multitude of responses blossomed and withered within me, all in the fleeting moment of a single breath. As I looked into his eyes, a tide of uncertainty surged within me, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I found myself murmuring, "I do not know what to do." As we delve deeper into this poignant narrative, let us pause for a moment. If this tale resonates with you, remember to show your support by liking and following Hidden Love Stories, ensuring you stay connected to the unfolding chapters and a treasure trove of other remarkable stories. We appreciate your presence with us. His voice carried a gentle cadence, deliberate and calm. This evening, you are free from the burden of making any decisions. And yet, a silent comprehension hung in the air between us, an acknowledgement that something had shifted beyond repair, a truth that would persist unchanged, even in the light of dawn. I stayed in my seat, his hand wrapping around mine, my heart pounding with such fervor that I wondered if he could sense its beat. Adam's touch was soft and steady, as if he understood the storm brewing inside me and was willing to wait patiently until I was ready to face it. A multitude of reasons to withdraw flooded my mind. My age, my past, my son, but none appeared strong enough to break the spell that was binding us together. He savored each moment with me. He hovered close, his thumb tracing delicate, unhurried circles across my skin. Unseen, yet profoundly felt, the intensity of the moment nearly engulfed me. In that instant, I recognized the countless years I had lingered in the periphery, simply surviving instead of fully engaging with the essence of life. Now, as I sit beside this man who once roamed through my kitchen in search of snacks during my childhood, I feel a stirring within me that I thought had died along with my husband. I yearn for the embrace of connection, I admitted, my voice barely lifting above a murmur, a realization I had yet to muster the bravery to confront within my own being. Adam's hand enveloped mine with a gentle strength, a quiet promise that he grasped the myriad unvoiced sentiments hovering in the air around us. "You are worthy of that closeness," he murmured gently. "You deserve everything you have been reluctant to pursue." Scalding tears hovered on the brink of release, but I struggled to keep them contained. I had mourned enough for what had slipped away. This evening unfolded like a scene from a dream, a tapestry woven with threads of exhilaration and haunting beauty. He shifted slightly, his knee brushing against mine, and in that moment, the slender space between us sparked with an undeniable energy. Every fiber of my being was intensely attuned to his closeness, to the heat radiating from him, to the way our breaths mingled, as if we were already woven into a bond that surpassed the limitations of language. He inched closer, pausing for a heartbeat, granting me the opportunity to withdraw if I wished. I did not. I lifted my gaze, meeting his eyes, those deep, searching eyes that asked for nothing, yet offered everything. He leaned in slowly, giving me plenty of chances to pull back, yet I found myself inching closer to meet him halfway. The kiss, when it ultimately graced their lips, bore no hint of haste. It was tentative, filled with a profound wonder that stirred a deep ache within my heart. His lips brushed against mine softly, as if searching for permission, and I leaned in closer, deepening the kiss with a yearning I had long buried. I relished the warmth, the patience, and an essence that balanced delicately on the brink of hope. As we finally parted, I lingered close, our foreheads gently pressed together as we paused to catch our breath. His hand cradled my cheek, his thumb tracing the delicate curve of my jawline, with a tenderness that sent a shiver coursing through me. "I have thought about you more times than I should confess," he murmured, his voice heavy with feeling. A gentle laugh slipped from my lips, a quivering note laced with incredulity. "You are quite young to be considering women like me." He pulled back just enough, letting his eyes connect with mine fully. "Time does not intimidate me. Your beauty eclipses everything that has come before." For an extended period, I had hidden away in the depths of sorrow and responsibility, neglecting the light that arises from being cherished, not for my strength, nor for my commitments, but for the true spirit of the woman I still was beneath it all. In Adam's gaze, I found no trace of the pity that had grown all too familiar. Only a profound longing remained, only admiration. The rational aspect of my existence yearned for independence, for control. Another facet, concealed beneath layers and longing, craved this connection more intensely than it feared the consequences. "Perhaps we should linger a while," I whispered, but even as the phrase slipped from my mouth, my body betrayed me, drawing nearer once again. Adam smiled, a gentle knowing smile that melted away the last of my defenses. He assured her, "We can take it at whatever pace you require." I simply nodded. "This evening, I hope you sense a comforting presence by your side." Those words fractured a part of my very soul. For what felt like an eternity, I had remained steadfast, unwavering in my determination to shoulder the weight alone. Nevertheless, the very notion of finding companionship amidst solitude resonated within me like a beacon of hope. I yielded, and he wrapped me gently in his arms. In that suspended moment, his hands moved in soft, rhythmic caresses along my back, as my head found its place against his chest, perfectly in tune with the steady, soothing beat of his heart. In that instant, an overwhelming sense of security wrapped around me, a sensation I had not felt in many years. As he pulled back, his eyes met mine again, silently questioning whether this was truly the decision I wanted to embrace. Certainly it was. It was there, a presence in the fabric of reality. He stood and offered his hand to me, and without hesitation, I took it. He led me softly along the corridor, the house bathed in a soft golden glow from the night lights I kept on out of habit. Every step seemed surreal, as though I was entering a life reborn, one I had never summoned the courage to imagine until this very evening. In my bedroom, he paused again, granting me a moment to rethink my decision. I met his lips with another kiss, this one deeper, more assured. He drew me closer, his hands tracing the delicate lines of my waist, the soft curve of my spine, as if charting a landscape etched with sorrow, yet still open to the possibility of joy. He peeled away my clothing with a purposeful elegance that rendered me breathless, each gesture imbued with a sense of worship, as if every inch of me warranted veneration. Never before had I felt such a profound sense of understanding, a depth of value that resonated within me. As he finally peeled away the last layer, he took a step back, his eyes sweeping over me with an intensity that ignited a blush across my cheeks. "You are breathtaking," he murmured, his voice thick with feeling. I reached out to him, longing for a connection, eager to close the distance that separated us completely. As his hands reached for me again, all thoughts evaporated. Every fear, every regret, every muted objection faded into stillness. What remained was the sensation, the connection that united them. We held one another with a tender slowness, a trace of shyness hanging in the atmosphere, as we revived the fragile dance of touch, the cadence of breath, the warmth of skin against skin. He treated me delicately, his focus awakening every nerve ending in my body. He pressed his lips to every scar, every gentle contour, as if they were sacred. And for a fleeting night, I permitted myself to feel worthy of such exquisite tenderness. As the moment slipped away, we lay intertwined in the sheets, his embrace enveloping me, anchoring me in a reality I had once thought was unattainable. I traced gentle patterns upon his chest, feeling a serene calmness that had long been absent from my life. For what seemed like an endless stretch of time, silence wrapped around us, allowing unuttered thoughts to linger in the air. Words appeared unnecessary. Everything of true significance had been expressed in ephemeral caresses, in prolonged looks, in the way he held me as though I were an invaluable gem. As I drifted into the gentle arms of sleep, a solitary notion echoed in my mind. Perhaps healing does not always reveal itself in the ways we expect. At times, it came gently, with a delicate caress, and a soul yearning to stay a while longer. After what felt like an eternity, a weight of solitude finally lifted from my shoulders. The morning light filtered softly through the curtains, warm and welcoming, but the weight in my chest was anything but comforting. I looked up at the ceiling, nestled against Adam's bare shoulder, and for a brief instant, I allowed myself to imagine that the world outside these four walls had vanished. Yet, as it always does, reality echoed more powerfully with each passing moment. I bore the esteemed title of mother, a woman mourning the loss of her beloved partner, a woman nearing the milestone of 50 years. In the arms of a man, I discovered comfort, though he was, in truth, my son's dearest friend. The silence that surrounded us thickened, neither awkward nor steeped in remorse, but heavy with the countless questions we had both avoided the previous night. Adam moved closer to my side. He reclined in silence, his gaze fixed, yet completely motionless. His arms held me close, steadfast and grounding. "You are overthinking," he whispered, perceiving the storm gathering in the depths of my thoughts. I cast a fleeting look in his direction. How could I ever hold back? My voice wavered. In that instant, our choices resonated with an undeniable sense of correctness. It seemed I stood at the edge of a great chasm, pausing in uncertainty, wrestling with the elusive words that danced just beyond my grasp, afraid that speaking them might break the delicate balance I had managed to maintain. He concluded that it seemed genuine, locking eyes with me, and it still does. My heart ached to embrace the sincerity of his words. Oh, how I yearned to hold that feeling close. Nevertheless, I had encountered enough of existence to grasp that reality frequently allows scant space for what genuinely strikes a chord as authentic, especially not when it came enveloped in complexities. In the vibrant dawn of your youth, there you stand, Adam. Your future unfolds before you, a vast expanse brimming with limitless potential. You deserve a companion who can grow with you, not one weighed down by a tumultuous past. He awoke from his dreams with a measured grace, his fingers sifting through the disarray of his hair. "I kindly ask that you refrain from doing that," he whispered softly. "Do not allow the relentless march of time or the echoes of your past to overshadow your true essence or value. Your presence is palpable to me. You have forever lingered in my vision." I blinked swiftly, grappling with the piercing discomfort that jeopardized my sight. He stayed oblivious to the profound layers of what I had hidden under the burden of years devoted to endurance. He remained oblivious to the duration that had elapsed since anyone had looked at me and seen a woman. Not a widow, not a mother, not a caretaker, but merely me. Perhaps that was the very essence that enveloped me in the most profound dread. I tightened the sheet around me and rose from the bed, meandering through the room, as if my footsteps might untangle the chaotic thoughts swirling in my mind. "This moment transcends our own existence," I whispered gently. "It centers on my son, the souls who share our journey through life. What transpires when they unearth the reality? What unfolds when his eyes lock with yours and he realizes that you have shared experiences with me?" Adam drew near from behind, his hands gently settling on my shoulders. "Then I will stand before him and welcome whatever may come to pass. Last night transcended the realm of simple mistakes. I will not abandon you, even if it seems easier to pretend that what happened never took place." I turned to face him, my hands trembling with eager anticipation. Yet what if I find myself devoid of the fortitude to withstand that odyssey? What if I were to lose him, my son, due to this? The silence that followed was all-consuming. He stepped back, granting me the space I required. His demeanor was calm, but a flicker of sadness lingered in his eyes. "If that is truly what you wish, then I will take my departure. Nevertheless, I will continue with the awareness that I have revealed my truth to you." Every word I uttered last night was sincere and heartfelt. It fractured a piece of my being. His unspoken willingness to cause harm, his unwavering decision to refrain. He was not trying to assert ownership over me. He made his entrance, uninvited. Such a love, unexpected and profound, bore a fear that eclipsed any scrutiny from the external realm. The rest of the morning blossomed into a soft dialogue, a delicate interplay of thoughts and expressions. In stillness we dressed ourselves, not out of shame, but from a profound sense of respect. The passage of time unfolded softly, free from haste or artifice, just two souls, each cradling a secret too fragile to express. As he left, he placed a soft kiss on my forehead, and I remained there, observing him disappear into the distance, my heart brimming with a blend of completeness and fragility. In his absence, time appeared to stretch endlessly. I moved silently through my abode, a shadow of who I used to be, lightly touching the walls, the furniture, the captured moments, yearning to connect the distance between the woman I had been and the one I had become. The fragrance of his cologne lingered in the atmosphere, a reminder of our shared moments intricately woven into the fabric of my sheets and imprinted upon my skin. My thoughts drifted to my son. In those treasured moments, Adam and he would convene at the kitchen table, laughter resonating as they recalled their video game escapades, their sneakers still marked by the remnants of an energetic soccer practice. How did I arrive at this juncture, clutching shards of something both forbidden and unavoidable? And yet I discovered no cause for regret. On that tranquil evening, I sat solitary on the back porch, my eyes drawn to the stars that adorned the vast expanse above. Wrapped in the gentle cocoon of a blanket, I searched for comfort against the looming darkness of the evening. Adam's words echoed in my mind, reminding me that I am deserving of everything I have hesitated to pursue. Was it misguided to long for that feeling of being wanted again? Was it unwise to seek comfort in the arms of someone who truly comprehended my essence? The struggle had surpassed the limits of morality. It hung in the fragile equilibrium of fear and reality, in the fragile equilibrium between hiding and being. After what felt like an eternity, I discovered a newfound reluctance to hide my authentic self. The next morning, I caught myself pausing before the mirror longer than usual. In my contemplation, a tender warmth remained, an unspoken acknowledgement of a threshold I had permanently surpassed. And yet, I remained steadfast in its presence. My fingers danced through my hair, delicately adjusting my blouse, not for the gaze of others, but because a flicker of vitality had reignited within me. For the first time since my husband's passing, I discovered that I was not just surviving, but genuinely feeling emotions. As the day progressed, a message from Adam arrived on my phone, reflecting on your existence. Embrace the moment and allow yourself the luxury of time. Simply, I have made my entrance. The process was uncomplicated, gentle and calming. It forged a domain where trepidation and longing could entwine and coexist in harmony. I stared at the message, a smile blooming unexpectedly. I responded, "You occupy my thoughts too. I cannot bring myself to disregard the possibilities that await me." The journey ahead was laden with obstacles. I must face my son, navigate the watchful eyes around me, and grapple with my own doubts. Yet, I had come to understand that love rarely conforms to order. It often finds us in the most unexpected moments, shrouded in regret and longing, yearning for the courage to accept it, no matter what. As I took my place on the porch, once again that evening, Adam's jacket draped over the chair beside me. A gentle warmth of something fresh began to awaken within me, not just hope, but a daring ambition. I discovered a profound change within me, becoming a stranger to the identity I had recognized merely a day prior. Perhaps that was the most beautiful facet of it all.